There's a new resource out there that kind of packages all the hell dystopian internet bills in one place,
Hmm.
and it is conveniently called badinternetbills.com. And it literally
Convenient.
sums up a lot of the contemporary internet bills that I have talked about a lot, both on my own show and
Hmm.
Status Quo. And I know that you talk about it a lot. I know Humanist Report covers it some. And these are bills that sometimes go under the radar because
Right.
digital rights is often an underreported beat, because it's it usually takes a couple extra steps, which I totally understand. But this stuff really impacts our lives a
Right.
lot. And these are bills like the Earn It Act, which would undermine end-to-end encryption, which is a
Hmm.
terrible idea. It makes all our messages more vulnerable online. The COSA bill, which is under the guise of keeping kids safe online, in reality, it allows like government bureaucrats to pretty much censor the internet for young people, which also goes into the Heritage Foundation saying the quiet part out loud. Like, yeah,
Right.
we want people to, not allow LGBTQ youth to get potentially life saving resources.
Right.
Then there's the Restrict Act, which I know you've talked about on your
Right.
show. That's the bill that's commonly referred to as the TikTok bill,
Right.
because what that bill would do is it would allow the banning of any, foreign applications, of which TikTok is one. They
Hmm.
had that absurd TikTok hearing that was nothing but xenophobic nonsense. I'm not going to sit here and say TikTok doesn't have security concerns, but they have
You
the
could look
same
at
security.
every.
You
You
look
could
at
look at.
all of them.
Yeah.
They have the
Facebook,
same security
Twitter.
concerns as all of them.
Exactly.
So it was
Exactly.
just it was just a bunch of xenophobic nonsense.
They just want
Um,
American corporations to be able to have and harvest our data and sell it to third parties. Let's keep it
exactly.
real.
Exactly. Not just that, but like one of the big architects behind this act is Mark Warner.
Hmm.
And guess who has a bunch of money invested in domestic software? Mark Warner.
Oops.
So, so this is a terrible piece of legislation. Banning TikTok is just one of the many terrible things it would do. Another thing it would do is it would mess with the Berman amendments. What those are is
Hmm.
that is how we all have the right to see news from other countries, basically. So it would allow any given president, be it Biden or whoever's coming next, Trump, DeSantis, whoever, they would have the ability to literally dictate what we could and couldn't see if it
Mm.
comes from anywhere outside the United States. There's age gating bills, which would require everyone to use an ID to use social media, which is a security disaster waiting to happen. It's
Absolutely.
why the website Pornhub left Utah. They were
Right.
like, "This is ridiculous.
Talked
We're
about
not going
that.
to deal with this. Sorry." And it would just be, and it wouldn't help anything. It would just make everyone more vulnerable online because these databases would be hacked real quick.
Hmm.
And then there's CSAM, which also weakens end-to-end encryption and gives surveillance powers to law enforcement, which has also never worked out well for many, many obvious reasons. So
Right.
folks can go to badinternetbills.com, read up on these bills, sign the petition, and it basically lets your elected representatives know you do not want these dystopian internet bills to go anywhere. And a lot of times they try to shove them into must pass legislation. They try to sneak it
Yep.
in. They try to have like flowery language where it's a war is peace scenario where they're
Hmm.
like, oh, this is going to keep kids safe online. Oh, it does the absolute opposite of that. It
Right.
makes everyone less safe online. So
Right.
so yeah, badinternetbills.com.
So let me just ask you real quick, because I know there's skepticism of a petition, right?
Yeah.
Um, but there's been actually a lot of victories. These have been brought up multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get it where it's just like, oh, okay, another thing to sign. But the
Yeah.
reality of the situation is like when we are so loud that elected officials realize that, okay, there's a lot of people paying attention right now.
Right.
And if I'm a yes on this or a no on this, whatever it is, then a lot of people are going to get pissed at me and I might lose my job. That's kind of when we get our policy victories. We
Right.
don't get our policy victories. We know that big tech has the ear of all of our politicians. We
Of
freaking
course.
know that. We know that the corporate, the corporate entities that really run this freaking place, they have the ear of all of our politicians.
Hmm.
But, if we're freaking loud enough and they're scared of losing their job, well, then guess what? They can't always give these big level donors every single thing that they want every single policy.
Like
We're going to get some
95%,
victories.
they still get
Yes.
it. But, you know,
Quite
that
literally,
5%,
yeah, about 95%. But you know what? If we don't, you got to start somewhere. And if we're not winning at least 5%, then we're even freaking worse off, because
then
that
we're
5%
losing,
makes a big
you know,
difference.
then we're winning nothing. 0%.
Exactly.
And so they're taking everything. So, you know, you gotta take your victories where you can and use some of the only means that you can. I think there are two different ways to get the attention of your politician. For one, being loud, as you mentioned, and secondly, when it applies, labor, withholding labor,
Strikes. Yeah.
strikes.
Strikes.
Yep. Those are
Withholding our labor collectively is the best tool we have by far.
Literally.
And then, you know, policy battles, and then just getting involved in your community, mutual aid, you know, I mean, you know, those are all the things that are very much tangible and within our grasp.
Absolutely. And you can start, you know, by doing something simple, going to badinternetbills.com and signing the petition. It takes you like 2 minutes.
Yep.
If you're a boomer. If you're younger, it might take you 30 seconds or more internet savvy.
There you go. Badinternetbills.com, y'all.
There you go. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate your time sharing these very important pieces of legislation and their effect, especially given how it is, you know, Pride Month and online privacy, especially for trans people, but not only trans people, but cisgendered women, trans men, you know, who birthing persons, whatever you want to call them. They're impacted by all this stuff. They're impacted when you have these bills that can spy on you and then report you to, you know, whatever state agency has banned reproductive rights in your state, you know, and is spying in over you, you know.
Yeah, which has already happened.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that's something else that you've reported on too. I mean, there was that case where Facebook was turning over DMs to law enforcement in the, you know, post Roe v. Wade world we're living in, from people trying to access abortion information. So, yeah, thank you for having me, Jeff. If you don't mind, before I get out of here, do you mind if I tell your listeners where they can catch me soon? Because I'm going to be on the road some. Yeah, I will be in Madison, Wisconsin on June 16th. Minneapolis, June 17th. Detroit, Jeff, I hope you come out, buddy. I'm going to be in Detroit on June 23rd. Bloomington, Indiana, June 28th. Chicago, June 29th. Then I'll be going overseas. If there's any overseas around the nation viewers, I'll be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Edinburgh, Scotland, August 16th through 27th. Then I'm doing a show in Southern California. My neighborhood is San Pedro on October 21st. Tickets and all information at romplacone.com. And again, so badinternetbills.com, romplacone.com for all my tour dates and information. And Jeff, thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah, you have a good one. Thank you.
You too, buddy. Cheers.
All right. Catch you later.
Peace.